Welcome back to Season 5 of CX in the Wild, where we capture conversations with the leading voices of customer experience from around the world.
Please share your name, who you are, and what you do.
My name is Krishna Raj Raja. I'm the founder and CEO of SupportLogic.
SupportLogic. So you've been around. We just met in the cafeteria there over lunch. How lucky for me to bump into you. What? Tell me about your history. You said you've been around for about 7 years, a pioneer in the AI space, in customer care, analyzing sentiment. But that's kind of what I overheard. Can you just break it down for me?
Yeah, let me give you a little bit of a backstory about myself. So my career started in early 2000s, and I was actually an operating system engineer. And a small startup at the time called VMware. They hired me as their first support engineer in India. And because of my operating system knowledge, they hired me as the first support engineer. When I joined, the support team was 4 people. I was the 5th person. The entire company was 80 people. So I helped them to grow the support function in India, started VMware India. I was the first hire in India, so I started the VMware office, scaled the support function.
What year was this?
This is 2002.
Okay.
So I scaled the support and set up the support function in Bangalore, set up the support function in Palo Alto, in Canada, in Ireland, so on and so forth. VMware grew so fast, our support team grew really, really fast. I was handling global escalations for VMware. And because of my engineering background, I became the bridge between VMware support and VMware product teams and engineering teams. So the genesis of SupportLogic comes from my foundational experience. Learning the pain points of customers, reading discussion forums, being on customer calls, and then also understanding the technology aspect of it. So that's kind of the foundation for SupportLogic.
And then that was 2002. But what happened between the time you identified these new challenges? Because they're sort of emergent challenges based on the scale, right? So you're sort of seeing, I would say, is it fair to say you're not just identifying the pain points, but you're recognizing them as they emerge into the marketplace?
So back in 2002, what I realized, being an operating system engineer and engineering background, all of that, I realized that in order to be a great support engineer, it's not just your technical skills. You have to have troubleshooting skills, which is separate from technical skills. You also need to have soft skills, customer empathy. A lot of times when you're dealing with escalations, I was dealing with customer emotions more than the technical issue. And at the time when customers already escalate an issue, they don't trust you. Because they've spoken to 3 levels of support, so they don't trust you. They think that you don't know anything about the product. So the first thing is to establish that, calm them down, make them feel like you got it under control, you know your stuff. So a lot of that was very interesting experience for me. The second part was on the product and engineering side. Often people tend to overlook the actual pain points of customer, and they build something which is not customer wants. And this is true for irrespective of what industries, whether it's services industry, whether it is a product company, doesn't matter. Often the companies build something which customers don't necessarily want. The voice of the customer is buried in those conversations. So those were the foundational genesis for me. So I spent 10 years in VMware, went back to engineering. Then I quit VMware when they were a 12,000, 13,000 member company, joined a startup. And that startup, I was there for 3 years as a founding engineer, which is founded by some VMware early employees. Then I realized my passion was in support. And I always say that once you do support, you're a lifer. So I wanted to go back to the support industry, so I started my own company.
So that's bold. I mean, loving the job and loving the work is one thing, but taking the dive in to build a company.
Yeah, honestly, when I was looking at support at the time, when I was looking at all the tooling out there, all the companies out there, I'm talking about 2016 when SupportLogic was founded, I was disappointed to find a lot of companies were treating support as a cost center, and the tooling was built with the foundational assumption that support is a cost center. And I fundamentally had a different opinion, always seen customer service and support as a revenue center, not a cost center. And this is a very, for some support leaders, this is the thought they cannot process.
I'm having trouble processing, but I'm following you.
And for me, like every interaction with a customer, whenever a customer comes to you with a problem, hidden behind the problem is an opportunity to do some more sales. It's an opportunity to identify a new product line that your companies have never implemented. Let me give you an example. This is a famous story from Disney. So Disney park visitors, a lot of them when they came, they were dressing up like Disney characters. This is like way early, right? Yeah. So the people who were supporting those folks on the ground, they realized and interviewed those folks like, why are you dressing up like Disney characters? Because they want to live and have the you're in the Disney world, you want to live the Disney characters in a Disney world, right? That led to Disney forming a new line of business, which right now makes, I think, $3 to $4 billion line of business. This was something you learned from customer interaction.
Okay, let me just stop you right there.
Yeah.
I try to tell people this all the time, and you just touched on it. I have to just co-sign, underline what you just said. So many people, when I talk to them about customer experience, they describe this space between the customer and the brand and touch points, and they get into efficiencies, technologies. And what I have to tell people is no. Every customer wants to be the hero of their own story. The brand that enables that customer to be the hero of their own story, that's customer experience.
Absolutely. I think this example completely embodies that. Literally, like they are the heroes.
Yeah, that's why I was like, all right, I got to jump in there.
Yeah, I think the big miss in the industry, in the support industry, is that the CEOs have always treated the support as a cost center and put it in an operational mindset, right? We have to do it. Support is complementary. We have to do it. And therefore, let's get it done and as lean as possible, as low expense as possible. And then you're missing the big picture of revenue opportunities. Every interaction with your customer, if you impart a great experience, they become your brand ambassador. They become your marketing channel, right? Your customer acquisition cost drops. Word of mouth spreads. I mean, these are all a lot of strategic benefits for CEOs. And I think only now, I would say in the last 5 years or so, this realization has come to place. Of course, there were a lot of early innovators who had always thought support as a revenue center, but now we are seeing large and more companies are treating support as a revenue center and a strategic division of the company. It's not an operational center. It's not something isolated from rest of the company, put it into a call center, different building. No, you're missing valuable insights. And if you don't act on those insights, guess what? You're dead.
It is interesting. I agree with you. I think that there has been a trend to have conversations around support as something other than a strategic center. And I would agree with you too that in the last 5 years, if anything, COVID opened people's eyes. How did COVID affect your vision and your mission and your marketplace?
It just accelerated our story to our customers. COVID absolutely accelerated our story. So one of the things we do in our product is we find patterns in keywords found in support tickets.
Okay.
During COVID time period, some of our customers asked us, can you also spot COVID keywords and do a report on that?
Okay.
And the reason they did that is when a support call comes in, and if there is a COVID reference there, they want to prioritize those tickets. They want to give the best care possible for those customers impacted by COVID. So we started putting those keywords and we started producing dashboards and all of that. One of the fascinating things we found was the COVID keywords emerged in support tickets even before the COVID became a mainstream news. So when you look at the patterns, we actually saw a lot of tickets and a lot of calls had COVID references, but it was not in the news then. News was, I think, in the March time period or something. We saw cases as early as December had those keywords. So this shows the power of finding emerging trends. You can spot emerging trends in those issues. And if you spot them soon enough, you can actually prevent a lot of issues.
Yeah, that's a good point. So tell me about your business. So you did a different startup as an engineer, and then you took the leap of faith to create SupportLogic.
Yeah.
And what year did you take?
So the company was founded in 2016.
2016.
Yeah.
And what is that? What does it look like to start up a company? You know, you have software. You have to spend a little time in stealth mode developing it, or did you start with a big client and sort of customize? How were you birthed?
So we were in a stealth mode for quite some time.
Okay.
In fact, first 3 years of the company, we didn't even have a website. Well, we had a website, but if you go there, you won't find anything.
Okay.
I was a big believer that I told my first set of employees, we won't have a company logo until we have a customer and a paying customer. We didn't print business cards. We didn't have a logo. We didn't have a proper website. The focus was all on about customers. So the first few customers we landed in 2018, first 2 years was bootstrap. And we were brainstorming all kind of ideas. Lots of good ideas we never implemented because we didn't find a market for it. And we landed on certain ideas which we never thought we'll build. This is another fascinating part of this journey because I come from the support background. I know the problem space fairly well. But even then, you get very surprised when you talk to customers. So yeah, that's kind of the journey for us.
And your first
few customers was our first company customer we closed was a public company.
So, and what I think, I love that you haven't gotten into the weeds on it, but I just am curious for my audience. You know, there's so many companies who are talk about solutions.
Yeah.
And I think everybody wants to point to revenue opportunities, improve customer lives, apply technology to do this in a better way at scale. But you really do at least one thing better than everyone else. And what is that?
Escalation prediction.
Escalation prediction.
Not only prediction, prevention.
Right. So those go hand in hand, right? So you predict and then you prevent.
They don't necessarily have to go hand in hand. So first of all, I'll tell you this. When we first implemented our escalation prediction stuff, an AI model for it, and I handle escalations for VMware, I always assumed that escalations are unavoidable, unpredictable events. You really cannot predict it. This is going to happen in the wild. We don't have a lot of data points on the wild. Why would you predict a customer is unhappy and will escalate all of a sudden? So first of all, we were not sure whether we can predict it with a great deal of accuracy. So first surprise was we predicted it. Then we thought, okay, maybe we are predicting the inevitable. What if we predict it but doesn't change the outcome? Right? You can predict tomorrow it's going to rain. Yeah, it's going to rain. You can't prevent the rain. Right? I mean, you can take an umbrella. That's the best you can do. So we thought the same, like, what if you just predict, but we can't prevent it? Then we actually built workflows based on our prediction. We enabled swarming. We enabled lots of workflows built into the product. And then, surprisingly, we saw a significant reduction in escalations. Then we thought, okay, this one customer, it's a fluke. Maybe it's not repeatable. Guess what? Every customer will reduce escalations. And every customer, the escalation reduction range usually is in the range of 30 to 60%. 30% of escalations go away, up to 60%.
Because you predict?
Because we predict and we do early warning and we allow people to swarm. We build workflows into our products. And then it prevents an escalation.
I see. It's sort of like...
So it turns out what was the issue was a lot of the escalations were avoidable escalations. A lot of the escalations were lack of prioritization from support engineers. A lot of issues where things overlooked and the things fall through the crack.
Yeah.
And then suddenly it bubbles up.
That happens.
Right. It happens, and it's very difficult to do it at scale when you're getting thousands of tickets every day or every month. So that's where we add value, because we are finding all those cases that are bubbling up, and before they escalate, we bring attention to the right support manager, to the support engineer, and we give you reasons and we give factors for that driving a case towards an escalation. Because we give reasons, it becomes very actionable.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And you have some sort of You have some strong brands that you cut your teeth with some strong brands who helped you kind of refine the vision and your own idea and then the technology implementation. How big a scale operation is your business now?
So a lot of folks, when they hear about us, because we honestly in the past we've not done enough marketing for brand awareness, right? But when they see the customer names, they get blown away because we have some amazing, almost every one of our customers is a recognizable name. World-class brands uses us for protecting your brand experience. Salesforce is one of our biggest customer. Freshdesk is a customer. 8x8 is a customer. Gainsight is a customer. And the list goes on. WalkMe is a customer. So a lot of companies in the CX space, NICE is a customer. So a lot of companies in the CX space itself are using our technology for their own support. So that's always one of our strongest suit.
And how big is your organization?
We're a very nimble company, not super big. We're 120 employees.
Okay.
And that's about it.
But 100, I mean, it's still a large number of engineers and smart people. And you just have to have the idea and the technological strength to deliver the solution. And it's about scale, right? And infrastructure. And I love that COVID, I love that the shift of culture during the pandemic. I'm not happy for the pandemic, but I'm happy that it enabled so many people to be free from working in one big building. And I feel like a lot of that expense has gone back out to good people. I think
one of the things that challenged COVID, especially support teams, is in support you learn through osmosis.
Oh yeah.
You need that camaraderie. You exchange notes. You exchange tips.
Yeah.
And everybody was sitting at home and in front of Zoom. One unhappy customer after another unhappy customer. It's very stressful and no outlet, no place to learn, and it created a lot of attrition. For support organization, always have high attrition, but COVID actually accelerated attrition.
I see, and I was thinking about COVID in terms of executives and engineers, but you're right on the call.
But it impacts executives because your people are turning over, and then you have to bring new talent. You have to train them. How are you going to train them? Right? They're all remote. So it posed a lot of challenges, right? I think our software became a big blessing for a lot of those customers. First of all, when you reduce escalations, it's 80-20 rule, right? 80% of energy goes to 20% of your cases. And guess what? Most of the 20% of the cases are escalations. So when you free it up, it frees up a lot of time for training, for development. It also reduced not only customer frustration, but also employee frustrations. When you have less customers yelling at you, then more likely you will stay in the company.
That's good. It's good for attrition. So what's the future, the present and the future look like for you?
We're just scratching the surface. We're doing a lot of stuff, very exciting stuff.
Anything I talked about tease?
Yeah, I talked about escalation prediction and prevention. We do case routing automatically based on skills. We automatically identify the skills from your previous interactions. We identify agents availability, time zone, compatibility, blah, 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 and we route the cases automatically. So that's something we do using AI. We do automatic coaching and quality monitoring. So we are the only product right now, I believe, that's auto quality analysis. So for every 100% of the cases, we do a QA score. Or AI ML will look at the interaction patterns, or will compute this is the quality of this interaction looks like. It's 100% automated. You don't need to do manual sampling, surveys, and whatnot. We also do, we've done integration for response assist for agents to respond back, including grammar assistance. So we partner with Grammarly. So we use our product. Grammarly is baked into the product.
I saw them at a show just recently. I was like, why are they coming to customer care?
We do transcription. So if you're doing voice calls, we transcribe, you store it automatically, put in the text. We do tonality detection. So we can say whether you're assertive or non-assertive and give recommendations for it. And then we also do troubleshooting assist. So you can actually, the support engineers can do / commands and say insert troubleshooting steps. It'll automatically insert the troubleshooting steps. things of that nature. So lots of very exciting stuff.
And how much of that is already available and what's new? Because my audience wants to know what's coming next.
So almost everything that I've said is out there right now.
Okay.
It's
what's next?
What's next? Okay, so may not be super exciting or sexy functionality, but it's very critical for large companies. We have the ability to connect into multiple ticketing systems and provide a unified dashboard.
Okay.
And this is big challenge for large companies.
It's a big challenge for a lot of people.
So you could have 15 different ticketing systems.
Yep. And
we
a lot
plug
of them.
And your support engineers can work on those ticketing systems. We'll federate the data. We give a unified dashboard.
Gotcha.
That's one thing we're rolling out second half of this year. We're also rolling out language translation. So any language, transparent bidirectional translation. So you can hire a support engineer in, I don't know, South America doing Japanese support issues.
Gotcha. And as a CEO, what are you looking at as the big technology trends coming up in this next year? Of course, AI. What besides AI, what are you paying attention to?
I think
as a human being, not as like in the context of this, but like just what are you looking at?
I think it's tied to AI. So what's going to happen with AI is with a lot of automation, the role of support is going to elevate into a different standard, right? Again, the vision we always said is support is a revenue center. AI is going to make support a revenue center because the automation, the break fix is going to be handled by AI.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
So most recent example I just read today morning was that I think this was IKEA. IKEA implemented AI for automation, freed up 1,800 support engineers. And now these 1,800 support engineers, they're leveraging them as interior designers, consultants. So now suddenly there's a value uplift, right? You're not doing break fix stuff. Now these guys have done so much expertise because they're on support. Now they can provide value to service for customers.
That's the
way.
And
I think this is what is going to happen in the industry.
I think you're right about that. Well, is there anything else we should talk about before we wrap up this edition of the podcast? I appreciate you spending some time randomly just to talk to me and tell me what's on your mind.
I think we covered a good ground. I mean, this topic is vast. We can talk all day long, but I think we covered good ground. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Let me pronounce your name again. You are
Krishna Raj Raja.
Krishna Raj Raja, CEO of SupportLogic. Thank you so much.
Pleasure's mine.
Thanks for tuning in to CX in the Wild. If you'd like to be on the show, connect with us through the link in the description or DM Dennis on LinkedIn.